Hey, it's Elena.
And it's Candace.
And you're listening to Cousins on Crime.
Oh, my cheeks are like rock hard. Thank you for the workout. Now tell me the rest.
We're getting into it.
I bet people have been furious at you.
I'm so sorry to leave you on that.
Okay, part two. Can we just get into it? Because I bet people are just as anxious as I am.
Absolutely. Now, just to recap, in case you have not listened to part one of the Yosemite Serial Killer, go listen to that first before this is the second part of that. It's kind of not really the makings of a serial killer, because we'll get into that later, but just the life of how we got here.
We often hear about the crimes first of someone, and then we dive into their psyche, but there was just so much that happened to other people in his life.
Yes.
And those stories are really important, like standing alone.
Oh, for sure. So, absolutely. So, all right, we're getting into it.
Okay.
So, we have Cary Stayner, who has earned himself the title of the Yosemite Serial Killer. On February 15th of 1999, 42-year-old Carol Sund and her 15-year-old daughter, Juliana Sund, she went by Julie, and Julie's 16-year-old friend, Silvina Peloso, she was an exchange student. They all went missing while staying at Cedar Lodge at Yosemite National Park. Carol and her husband, Jens, had 4 kids. 3 of them were adopted, and 1 was a natural child. They were a busy family, and Carol kept a tight schedule. They lived in Eureka, California, and Carol worked in real estate, and Jens was a truck driver. The family were advocates and worked with abused and neglected children, which is, why they had adopted. Mm-hmm. Julie was a high school cheerleader. She was their natural child. She was a happy person and was one to get people dancing and having fun. She was musically inclined. She played the piano, the violin, and she was learning the guitar.
Wow.
Silvina was an exchange student from Argentina. She is actually the daughter of Carol's longtime friend, Raquel. Silvina loved to dance and competed in dance competitions. So Silvina and Julie had a lot in common. Her favorite music was by the Spice Girls.
Oh, I don't think I can sing that on here.
Oh, yeah, probably not. Scratch that. And she really liked New Kids on the Block.
Cool.
She wanted to study biology in college, so she had plans.
Yeah. So
Carol had planned the 5-day trip to Yosemite National Park and to see the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
It was a 2-month in advance plan.
Yeah.
They decided to go in February because Carol wanted Silvina to be able to go sightseeing and get pictures before she went back home to Argentina.
Aww.
And I think she was leaving like the next weekend.
Wow.
They planned to fly into San Francisco from Eureka and rent a car to drive to Yosemite. Then they would return the car in Modesto and then go to San Francisco on February 16th to meet up and cross paths with Jens.
Okay.
Jens and the kids would go from there to Phoenix to go visit his side of the family.
All right.
On the way to Yosemite, they stopped in Stockton at University of Pacific for a cheer competition that Julie competed in.
Oh, wow. They're busy.
I know. Exactly.
She had to be like rigid and organized.
Oh, yeah. Carol made a plan with another parent to meet them back at the university after seeing Yosemite, so that Julie could take a tour of the campus with them. 2 birds, 1 stone. Yeah.
There
She's like, you know what? Okay, if y'all are going to take a tour, I'll just come back and we'll do that.
It's on our way back.
Yeah. So as she was deciding where she wanted to go to college, this is the perfect time to tour. Mm-hmm. So it was going to be crunch time, though, to get back to the airport to meet Jens. But this mama, she was creating opportunities for her daughter.
Oh, yeah.
They arrived at the Cedar Lodge on February 14th, Valentine's Day.
Romantic.
And checked into their room 509. They were the only customers staying in this particular building of the lodge.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. There's like buildings all separate throughout the layout, but the only ones in this building. Yeah, that would be so eerie.
That's freaky.
You've got the forest all around you.
And you've noticed that you're the only people like taking the elevator and like walking through the halls.
Yeah, I don't know.
Oh my.
Very unsettling. I mean, I don't know if they were worried,
maybe they didn't even notice.
Yeah.
I mean, this is late 90s. So
exactly.
People still kind of felt safe.
Maybe.
I don't know. Were we starting to panic at that point?
I wish I knew how they felt. But they settled in and rested for the night. The next day, they put on their layers, packed the essentials, and started hiking in the park. They ended their day back at the lodge and shopped for souvenirs. Carol called Jens and told him about their day and their experience, and they discussed the plans for the next day, which was to take one more hike in the morning, go tour the university, and then she should make it back to the airport in time. The 3 of them then went to have dinner at the diner at the lodge. They were done with dinner and went back to the room about 7:30 p.m. And that was the last known movements from any of them.
No.
When Carol didn't show at the airport on time, Jens was concerned, but he didn't really worry too much.
Yeah. He's like, she's got a lot going on.
Yeah.
She packed too much into this day.
Right.
Oh,
maybe it took longer at the college. Maybe I got the time wrong.
Yeah. You do that. You justify.
Exactly.
You try to think of every possible explanation except for the worst one.
Right. Because you don't want to.
No.
So he went ahead and went to Phoenix, Arizona to see.
So he got on the plane.
He got on the plane.
Okay.
With the other kids and went. So he's in Arizona and he gets up the next morning. He goes to play golf and then he's like, I need to call her. And so he's calling, no answer. And this is when he gets really worried. So he calls her parents and they made a plan to start searching for all of them. Upon searching the room at the lodge, their luggage was not there. It was as if they packed up and left. But one detail that stuck out to Carol's mom was that the receipts and souvenirs were left in the room still on the side table.
So they went there?
Yes, I think it was Jens and Carol's brother that went to the lodge.
Wow.
And the key card, that's also another detail that Carol's mom was like, the key card was still in the room.
See, leave it to the woman to be like, okay, y'all missed this and that. Like,
right. She knew her daughter too.
Yeah.
And she knows that it's important for Carol to turn in the key card to the front desk before leaving.
Then you had to.
Right.
Back then you had to check out. These days you could just leave.
Yeah.
Like, and
leave
you
it
could
on
keep
the
your
table.
card. You could throw it away. They have a million. But you're right. Back then in those days, you had to check out.
Yeah.
You had to turn your key in.
Yeah. So she's like, surely.
And she knows she didn't go shopping and leave her purchases behind.
Yeah. Why would you leave your souvenirs there? Also, Julie never made it to the meeting. They found out that Julie never made it to the meeting to tour the college. And that's when Jens made the missing persons report for Carol, Julie, and Sylvina. There were rumors that Julie met somebody on the internet and, chat rooms back in the 90s. And maybe she told the person that they were staying at the Cedar Lodge. Sylvina and the other kids also used the internet a lot. Maybe they said something to someone about the plans. But Jens couldn't believe any of them would do that. He's like, they're smarter than that. The FBI took the computer and analyzed it and gave it back. And there wasn't any evidence of any chat history saying, giving anybody any details.
Right.
They also examined Julie's personal phone book and other things. After reporting them missing, Jens, along with the family and friends, started searching on their own, like a wider scope.
Right.
They had 5 cars driving around the area with cell phones available to contact each other. I don't know if it was like those big car phones. But one of the ideas was to look for cliffs or sharp turns, places where Carol may have driven off. But their search was not fruitful.
Gosh, you just feel helpless. Let's just look for any old place.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And it's such a, like I said, a forest of trees.
I know. That's the scariest thing.
Exactly.
It's like not knowing where to look.
Yeah. Just hoping you stumble upon. So on February 19th, Carol's wallet was found in the middle of a road in Modesto.
Wow.
By a high school student. And then later on, a reward of $250,000 was offered. Yeah, that's a lot of
crap. That is a lot of money back then.
I know. That's one thing.
That's a lot of money now for a reward.
For sure. A reward. Exactly. And they're like, somebody asked him, why so much? And he's like, well, that's the price of a house. Jens was saying this, it's the price of a house. Maybe, you would give anything to find your family. So man. So that was offered to get any information on finding them. A month later, on March 18th of 1999, a man went on a morning walk and to do a little target practicing.
All right.
He walked up to find the crime scene.
Oh my gosh.
It was about 100 yards from the highway. Investigators arrived to find Carol and Sylvina in the trunk of Carol's Pontiac Grand Prix rental. The car had been burned.
Oh my Lord.
The bodies were burned beyond recognition and were identified using dental records.
Oh God.
Carol had been strangled and she had been shot. Sylvina had been sexually assaulted and shot. A week later, police received a note with a hand-drawn map giving the location of the third victim, Julie. The top of the note read, "We had fun with this one."
Oh my gosh.
Disgusting.
That is sick.
Yeah. Investigators went to the location depicted on the map and found Julie's remains. She too had been sexually assaulted and her throat had been cut. Detectives began interviewing employees of the Cedar Lodge, where the 3 of them were staying. FBI Special Agent Jeffrey Reineck was sent to talk with the witnesses. Cary, being the handyman there, was questioned. Agent Reineck said, "During that time, we got to know each other. We were 2 guys that didn't know each other, that were stuck doing something that we didn't really want to be doing. Mm-hmm. And so we were just making the best of it. We were just talking amongst ourselves." Yeah. What is it? Shooting the breeze?
Yeah. Shooting the breeze.
And I think this was kind of a way for Agent Reineck to get Cary to trust him in a way. Mm-hmm. But even at that point, he didn't suspect Cary for anything. Really? He just thought, I'm talking to a potential witness. Maybe he knows something. Cary, in the conversation, he brought up his brother, Stephen, who you'll learn about in the previous episode if you haven't listened. He talked about what he had gone through, telling him that Stephen was 7 when he was kidnapped in Merced in the 1970s, and that he escaped his captor at 14. Cary talked about how unhappy he was over the short sentence that Kenneth received. So another reason he wasn't really suspected was because he had no criminal history. Cary didn't have any criminal history, and the interview just didn't warrant any suspicion.
Well, and telling him about his brother, he's a victim now.
Yeah,
exactly. He very much fits. He's a victim himself, and you would never dream in a million years that someone who had been through that or their family had been through that would be involved in something so heinous.
Yeah, and so your heart breaks for this person, and you're like, oh,
let's take it easy. Like, let's not interrogate this person.
Yeah.
Oh.
So a task force of FBI agents and law enforcement officials from the 4 surrounding counties began investigating. They were looking into a number of past offenders in the area. In June, they announced that though none of the suspects had been convicted, they were confident that the killer was at least in custody. I don't know if they arrested some of these past offenders.
Okay.
I'm not sure what made them so confident about these people.
Maybe they were fluffing and trying to make everyone feel
safe and lessen the fear in the community. Yeah, for sure. But just a month later, on July 22nd of 1999, they were proven wrong. Whoever was in custody was not the killer.
Oh, no.
Because they had found another victim.
Oh, my gosh.
Joey Ruth Armstrong had been found with her head decapitated. Joey was a friendly 26-year-old naturalist. She was an environmental educator at Yosemite Institute. She had started that job just a year before.
Wow.
Joey loved hiking and camping. She lived with her boyfriend in a quaint cabin in the woods. Her boyfriend was traveling, and she was nervous about being alone that weekend. She decided to stay at the cabin, maybe conquer her fears a little bit for a couple of days, and then she would stay with a friend in town for the rest of the week while he was gone.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
Yeah. So on July 21st, she called her boss to let her know that she was packing up and about to leave town, but she would drop off some work items to her boss on her way out. By 7:30 p.m., her boss had not heard back from Joey. So her boss's husband decided to take a walk to Joey's cabin to go check on her. I guess it was walking distance.
Right.
He walked up to the cabin. He saw her truck still in the driveway. And as he approached, he saw her front and back door open and the radio was playing. He hollered out for Joey and he got no response. He looked around and he went ahead and went back home. Didn't know what to do. Maybe
he was like, maybe she's indisposed.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to walk in on her in a
Who
towel
knows?
Or
A member of the Yosemite Fire Department later reported seeing a blue 1972 International Scout Jeep parked outside of Joey's cabin. Detectives traced the vehicle to Cary Stayner, and he became the prime suspect.
Oof.
Another Yosemite employee reported that they had picked up a hitchhiker shortly after the time that Joey disappeared. The hitchhiker was on the side of Highway 150, standing next to a blue International Scout Jeep. An employee at the lodge saw Cary being dropped off around 9 p.m. that night. When Joey didn't arrive at her friend's house, her friend called Joey's mother and called police to report Joey missing.
Wow.
Police arrived at Joey's cabin the morning of July 22nd, and they found it the same way as it was at 7:30 the night before when the boss's husband went.
Doors were open?
Yeah, both doors were open. The radio was playing, and her truck was
goodness.
still in the driveway. They did find a pair of men's bent sunglasses in the living room floor. A search ensued, and around 1:30 p.m., Joey's body was found. It was not far from her cabin in the water of a drainage ditch.
Wow.
She had cuts on her wrists, indicating defensive wounds, and her head was missing.
Oh my good Lord.
They were able to find her head about 40 feet away from her body in a small
Jesus.
stream. 2 female park rangers found Cary lying naked on a rock, smoking a joint on the side of a road.
Comment.
Yeah, he was so nonchalant, telling them that he's off for the day and he was just enjoying some sunshine. They confiscated his backpack and took pictures of his Jeep and let him go about his business. By the time the FBI agents, John Bowles and Jeff Reineck, were ready and able to arrest Cary, he had already left town. He's like, I feel the pressure. I'm leaving.
Yeah. But first, a nudie joint.
He went about 3 hours away to a nudist colony.
Oh my God, Lena, stop this.
In Wilton, California. I don't know if it's still there.
People are like Googling. There's my next vacation.
Yeah. The creepos go out there. Be careful, please.
Do they have free Wi-Fi?
Well, in 1999, they did not even have TVs in the room. So if they do now, maybe.
And you're nudie. Like, you don't need a TV.
Yeah.
There's other
You're living the life. You're liberated.
If you don't need clothes, you don't need a TV.
The employees there saw his face posted on the news. And they're like, hey, this guy is here. They called police and told them that Cary Stayner was staying there. And they made it to capture him. They arrested and took him in for questioning. It didn't take long, and he confessed to killing Joey. They were like, oh, well, that was easy.
Wow.
Where's the Staples button?
Goodness gracious. Yeah, seriously.
He told them that he parked his truck on the side of the road and walked around trying to spot Bigfoot. And said that he'd seen Bigfoot in that area before, so he just wanted to try and see if he could see him again.
Right.
He was probably smoking a joint that day too. He saw Joey packing her things in her truck as he's just moseying around the forest. He walked up to her and told her about seeing Bigfoot once before. Well, Joey's like, yeah, okay, I'm packing, I'm busy. And so as Joey turned to go into her home, he followed her. He pulled out his gun and forced her into her bedroom. He bound her with duct tape. He put her in the back of his Jeep. He said that she fought with him the whole time, and then she jumped out of the open passenger side window.
Bound?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
He ran after her, and when he caught her, he cut her throat. He then moved her body and then decapitated her.
Oh my God.
There was some kind of connection that was made there in the prior interview. Remember when Reineck was talking to Cary and, shooting the breeze?
Right.
So, that trust was formed back then, just a couple months earlier. So much so that Cary felt the sense of, I don't know, maybe I need to relieve this burden. So Cary confessed not only to Joey's murder, but also Carol's, Julie's, and Sylvina's.
Good Lord.
Just before Cary confessed and gave details, he tried to negotiate 3 requests.
Oh, God. Green M&Ms. I want a hamburger and a shake.
Girl. No.
Oh,
I wish it
my
was
Lord.
that
Don't tell
simple.
me.
Number 1, he wanted images of young girls. Number 2, he wanted his family to get the $250,000 reward
please.
money because, hey, he confessed.
He's cracking the case.
Yeah.
Oh, please.
And number 3, he wanted to end up in a federal prison near his family. So, Agent Reineck, he's like, you know what? Just pick one. Like, can you just pick just one?
And not the girls one, not the pictures of the girls.
Mm-hmm.
Don't pick that. He picked that one. Lena, he picked that one?
Girl. Yeah. So Reineck
Sick.
said he chose the pictures of the young girls.
Oh my gosh.
He chose that over the money for his family and over being close to his family. And he added, and he is a perfect symbol and example of the drive that these people out there in the world who look at child pornography, this is what it is to them. They'll sacrifice anything to see it.
Oh, God.
Cary did not get any of his requests. Let's applaud. But he ended up confessing to the 4 murders. So saying he planned the attacks for more than a year. There were other girls and women that he contemplated murdering, but never took the opportunity until now.
God.
He said that he drew the map and sent it to the police because it was bothering him that Julie's body was laying out there in the elements and not being found, and he wanted her to be found. How compassionate.
Precious.
Anyway, Cary actually gave 3 different stories on how it all played out. Ultimately, he admitted that he watched the women and knocked on the door a little after 10 p.m. Carol, Julie, and Sylvina. He told them that he was there to fix a leak in the bathroom. And when he entered the room, he pulled a gun on them. He bound them. He put Julie and Sylvina in the bathroom while he strangled Carol with a rope. He then took Carol's body out to the car and put her in the trunk of the rental car. He then took Sylvina into the bedroom out of the bathroom and sexually assaulted her and strangled her and then put her body in the trunk. Now it says he admitted that he strangled her, but they both had gunshot wounds as well. So he then got Julie out of the bathroom and sexually assaulted her next. He said he wanted to keep her.
Sick.
But he had no way of hiding her. So he wrapped her in a blanket and put her in the rental car and drove the car about 70 miles away to Lake Don Pedro. He took her on a trail, and that's where he cut her throat. He then drove 50 miles away and dumped the car at the Sonora Pass, where that hiker found the car. Mm-hmm. He said he was going to dump the car in the water, but it got stuck on a logging road. And so he's like, well, I guess I'll just keep it here. He was able to get to a phone and call a cab and made it back to Cedar Lodge. He admitted leaving Carol's wallet in the middle of the road in Modesto to throw investigators off. He also went back to the car where he left it and caught it on fire like a couple days later. Or I don't know if it was a couple days or like later that night. I don't know, but he went back to the scene.
Right. As they usually do.
Right.
What are the odds? Wasn't she supposed to be in Modesto?
Yeah. At one point.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Because did he know that?
I don't know.
And he's like, I'm going to go put it there.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Investigators probably thought she at least made it to the next, place. Because wasn't she supposed to fly from Modesto?
Yeah.
Or drop off the car there?
Yes, drop off the car there for sure. Yeah.
Okay, so
how did he know that? That's a good question. I did not even think about that.
And what if he would have put the car in the water? What if he would have been successful? They may have never found.
Never.
They may still be missing to this day.
Exactly.
And he may have killed even more people.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
now I'm spiraling.
Okay.
Sorry.
Hold on. Come back to me.
Let's get back to it.
Investigators found a roll of film near the car. When they developed the film, they found pictures of the women having fun on their trip. So, I mean, at least the family got to have those last moments.
Oh, so terrible.
I know. Evidence was also found in his vehicle proving Joey's murder. I mean, he already confessed, but hey.
But you've got to have the evidence, because we know confessions get thrown out.
Yeah.
All the freaking time.
You're exactly right. Sylvina's body was flown back to Argentina by way of the private jet of the San Diego Chargers football team.
Wow.
Yeah, the owner of the team. Isn't that cool? I mean, it's not cool that her body was on there, but it's just fantastic.
That they were moved to do that.
The owner of the team had offered the use of it. So
wow.
That's so kind.
Mm-hmm.
Cary told investigators that he had begun fantasizing about abducting and murdering women since age 7. Before his brother Stephen was ever abducted. At 3 years old, he was diagnosed with trichotillomania. Have you ever heard of that?
It sounds familiar.
It's obsessive compulsive hair pulling.
Yes. I knew someone with that. She had no eyebrows, no eyelashes.
I've actually met a few people with that. So it's so common. But he was put on medication, but he did continue pulling out his own hair throughout the high school years, and he was bullied because of the bald spots that he left on his head. He later said that he had been molested by an uncle at the age of 11.
God.
Don't know if it's true. At age 16, he exposed himself to a friend of his sister's while she was there for a sleepover at his house. The same girl found Cary under her cot as she went to lay down to go to sleep, and he reached up and grabbed her breast.
Oh.
So this is just progressing.
Escalation.
Cary once told a friend that he thought about driving a truck into his employer's company building, killing everyone inside and burning the place down.
Wow.
In September of 1990, a year after Stephen's motorcycle accident, Uncle Jerry, with whom Cary lived at the time, was shot to death in his house.
Jeez.
That's what I'm saying. One thing after another. That murder was never solved. However, Cary became a suspect after his arrest.
Wow. Yeah, I'll say.
Yeah. In 1991, he tried to gas himself to death with carbon monoxide.
What? Oh my.
In 1995, he was admitted to a mental institution after claiming to have a nervous breakdown, and he was treated and released. He was also arrested in 1997 for possession of marijuana and meth. It's just terrible.
Just a disaster.
Yeah, he was a tormented soul.
Wow.
Cary claimed insanity at trial. However, he was found sane. Mm-hmm. Sorry, that doesn't help you. And he was found guilty of 4 counts of first-degree murder. He was convicted and sentenced to death. Wow. Cary Stayner will be 63 in August and is being held at San Quentin State Prison.
Wow, he's only 63.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Cary did admit that there were other women and girls that he planned to murder, as I said earlier, but didn't take his opportunity. He was suspected of at least 4 or 5 other murders, one being Uncle Jerry. Each of the other victims went missing in the same area, and their bodies were found in similar ways of Cary's known victims. However, these cases have not been solved.
Wow.
To my knowledge. Amidst all of this tragedy, Carol's parents started the Carol Sund Carrington Memorial Reward Foundation.
Oh, that's a mouthful.
Yes. This helped others with missing loved ones who did not have funds or resources needed to find or get justice for their loved one.
Wow. That's something most people do not think about.
I know.
I mean, you have like Natalie Holloway's mother.
Mm-hmm.
She had to like quit her whole life and go set up shop in
Yes.
Aruba looking for her daughter. You know, these people have to travel and quit their jobs or stop working, and
yeah, and then it affects you mentally,
printing
emotionally.
out thousands and hundreds of thousands of flyers, and like, who's going to pay for all of this?
Exactly. So this is one of the
That's
funds that was
amazing.
available. I don't think the fund is active any longer. I'm not sure how accurate, but from the last report that I could find, the foundation has posted 152 rewards in 30 states, totaling more than $1 million.
Wow. Wow.
I'm not sure if there are more results, but also included in this report was that they helped apprehend 17 murder suspects and one child molester who attempted to murder his young victim.
Oh my gosh.
The safe return of a missing woman and her critically ill 1-year-old son was located with the help of this foundation. And a missing man who had died in a car accident. So, I mean,
amazing work.
Yeah, absolutely. At least there was something
good.
Good that could turn from
Please,
this
Lord,
tragedy.
At least let there be something good from this. Good.
Yeah.
Goodness.
So I'll leave you on that positive note, because everything else I told you was hard to get through.
That was rough.
Mm-hmm.
I need a minute after that. I find myself speechless. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I really don't know what to say.
I don't either.
That was tragic.
I can't comment any I feel like I've just spit out a lot of words, and
I feel like I have so much to say at the end of cases, like to discuss.
Mm-hmm.
And I really am just, I need to process.
It's like exactly what I said at the beginning. It's a roller coaster. You know, when you're at Six Flags and you get off the Mr. Freeze and you just feel discombobulated. Yeah.
Like, am I hungry? Do I need to throw up? Do I need to poop? I don't know. Like, do I need to leave?
Yeah. I need to sit a minute is how I feel.
Just sit. Yeah.
So.
Whoa. Thank you for telling Stephen's story and Timothy's story and the victims of Cary's. I can't believe that so much pain and turmoil and mess and just devastation has come from all of this. Like, just wow. I need to go suckle my fake cigarette and get some pizza, actually, because that sounds great.
I'm glad I could inspire you in some way through this.
Thanks, Stephen, for working at a pizza place and letting that be part of the story. Wow. Well, this was great. Let's do it again sometime.
All right. We'll do it.
Bye, guys.
Bye, y'all.
Thank you for listening to Cousins on Crime. Get connected with us by becoming a free member on our Patreon. Or for just $5 a month, you'll have access to bonus episodes, discussion groups, and much more. If you can't afford $5 a month, we get it. Inflation, am I right? Please consider leaving us a positive review and rating wherever you listen.
And don't forget merch. Support our podcast and show the love by sporting t-shirts with our latest designs, or grab an evidence bag to keep the chain of custody for all your valuables. Don't forget to follow our show on your favorite streaming app so you never miss an episode, and get photos and updates on our Instagram at Cousins on Crime Podcast or our Cousins on Crime Facebook page. Have a case suggestion? Email us at cousinsoncrime@gmail.com.